Hello? Is this friggin' thing on? Testing. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Hey, there we are. Alright, how do I get chat open here? Hello. Oh, 2 mics. 2 mics for the price of 1. Yo, Niddish, dog. Let me tell you, your name's not Mike. You really disappointed me. You really, really disappointed me. I saw 2 mics in chat. All of a sudden, you come in, ruin everything. I don't know what to say to you. Just sick of your shit. Get the fuck out of my house. Glad you got the notification. I don't know how the notifications work these days, man. Let me tell you. This is the No Donnie edition, by the way. In case anybody's wondering. He's doing family stuff. He's a Christmas boy. My family doesn't celebrate Christmas because we're Irish, and you know, Irish people don't do that. We have a potato fest. You're racist if you believe that, by the way. If you believed what I was saying to you with a straight face, that's racist. First time no Donnie, many times no Jenkins. Yeah. Alright, you know, sometimes people are busy. This is okay. Such is life. Dota 2 Pro News, hello. How's it going? Trying to load into this game here. There he is. There's the Henster. We'll go to Moo's player perspective. What is he playing? Anti-mage. I see. Is that loud? Is the desktop audio too loud? Maybe I should turn it down. This is supposed to be a podcast after all. You love me playing with Henry? I don't like playing with him. He's just rude. He's just a rude person. Just so filled with hate. Just so spiteful. You know, he's just somebody that you can't rely on, you can't trust, you can't have any faith in. I mean, for fuck's sakes, he calls himself a vegan, he eats chicken nuggets. Oh wait, no, sorry, that's Monkeys Forever. I was thinking of somebody else. Henry's a good guy. Henry's a really good guy. Let's see with these questions here. Let me load them up. I'm not used to running the stream, so forgive me if I'm a little bit slow here. It's gonna take me a little while to adjust. First time joining the stream. Hello, Shadow Trader. What up? This is really loud on my little earbuds, but I don't really need to hear the game. Let's see, when was the last Tuesday? Is there a way to get chat to pop out? I'm sure there is, right? Pop out chat. Okay, there we go. Cool. There she is. What do I think about the Ogre Arcana? I don't think Ogre is like a particularly broken hero, so I haven't been playing it a lot, but the games that I did play Ogre, I was having a lot of fun with the Arcana. I thought it was really funny. Is Jenkins feeding again? What have I been feeding? One of my mini games. Look how many people I've muted. This is on the tamer side. Let's see, who are we gonna watch? Watch Yawar. See how Yawar lanes here. You hit the vine because of me. Well, I mean, I don't think it's because of me. I think it's because of you, but it is it's definitely good to go out there and get some information shared to you from some other people. This game is very very convoluted. I'm gonna be honest. It's convoluted. There's a lot to it. So it's very hard for people to keep up to date, to say the least. Can I go on a random street in Canada and get weed? Nope, not really. You probably could before it was legal, but now it's all government. You have to buy it from them. You have to buy it from a place that has a license. It's like beer. Well, I guess if beer doesn't work that way in your country, then probably don't know what I'm talking about. But the alcohol you can get here is all government as well. You can only get it at one place. It's called the LCBO. Actually, they just started getting it in grocery stores, but they charge a pretty penny, let me tell you. Skipping Ignite during the laning stage, the new build on Ogre, that's kind of been the build. That's not really a new build. I actually think skipping Ignite isn't good. Like I think Ignite is a really broken ability. Like the mana cost for the damage it does is just too much. I think you skip Ignite if you have a good hero to Bloodlust. Am I smoking the devil's lettuce? No, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Hello, Falber. When's the best time to go Roche? There's plenty of situations. Really, it just depends on like the speed that you can take Roche. And, you know, sometimes it's really important for the game. Like you need Roche to take a high ground. Really, it's all about speed. It's like Roche is just a really good objective to take. It's like the #1 objective you should take if you can take it. That's the bottom line. It's really simple. I'm not going to overcomplicate it by saying anything else. If you can take Roche and you kill the enemy team, or you feel like they can't fight you, you just go take Roche. The earlier the better. It's better than any other objective in the game because it'll help you secure any objective that you could take with with the Aegis. So all about speed with 3 E's. Yes, Dota is all about speed. Okay, let's get into the questions. I think there's enough people here now. By the way, let me know what you think about the thumbnail. This is something that I've been working on and preparing for a while. It's probably quite possibly my greatest work. Let's see. How the fuck? How do I get to my desktop, man? Okay, so last Tuesday was the 17th, so anything after the 18th, we will talk about. When's the Dota Alchemy Game Leap collab happening? Soon, I hope. But Donnie's on a sabbatical from social media, so not this week. Okay, let's begin. Lemons says, thoughts on Invoker mid lane in this patch. How should he be played with his new eggs /ult rework? So I basically just think that from what I've seen, Invoker is just like a strictly better hero. I don't think you should play it any differently. I don't think that Quas Exhort is any good for the same reasons it was bad in the last patch. I think that you probably just go Quas Wex, run around, kill people, secure outposts. You could make an argument for some sort of like travels build with Quas Exhort, but I don't know. There's some really good mid laners you can pick to do basically the exact same thing. So I don't know. I gotta say I'm not a big Invoker player, but I haven't seen people playing it any differently. It just seems better. People just have spells up more often, which is really nice for that hero. Do you think that now everyone buys wards and sentries? I do. I think you should. I don't see any reason why not. However, with that being said, I do think that having a distinction for like a 5 position who is going to be running around tanking ganks, being the kind of sacrificial one. Like I think that's good, right? Like the only it's not like warding was the only sacrifice that people were making as a position 5 before. At the very least, excellent position 5 players. That was 1 out of 10 places in the game where they would make sacrifices. And I think that, because they've only removed one of those 10, it's obviously not something that's very unlikely that's going to be completely nerfed, is playing that kind of sacrificial role. So I do think that with the sentries, that generally like a position 5 still placing those and using their time to like go and de-ward and ward and stuff like that is very viable. I think it's still really good. But with that being said, you can definitely, like as a core, if you want to de-ward something and your pause 5 is busy, like especially during laning, or if you're playing a position on the map where the pause 5 like doesn't want to go anywhere near you, then yeah, of course you just de-ward. Like you could be ruining the whole map by having a position 5 who should be playing somewhere else, like come to you to ward. That could ruin the entire map. That's just another place where cores can ruin the game and then blame their supports because their supports did the action that ruined the map, even though it was dictated by the core. What's the minimum MMR someone should have before considering going pro? So I would basically say like 6K is like the lower limit. If you're 6K, you can kind of commit to like, okay, I'm gonna try to go pro. If you're 6K, you're not gonna be on a good team. Period. Straight up. Like if you're 6K and you're not, one of the OGs like Kuroki or something like that, where you're only 6K because, well, I mean, obviously he's not 6K, but like let's say you were Kuroki or what's his face, Solo from VP, and you just didn't queue pubs. Like, sure, you can be 6K or whatever, but it's because you're winning tournaments. But if you want to like consider going pro from from not already being a professional player, then yeah, like 6K is the starting point. 7K is when you can possibly be on a team and be considered good. Like people will give you a chance if you're 7K. And I think if you're good enough to be on a team that's like tier 1 or tier 2, 7K shouldn't be a problem for you. If you want to be on a real tier 2 team that's going to compete, because otherwise you're playing against all 7Ks and they're going to outskill you. Like most tier 2 teams are filled with like 7 to 8K players now. Probably closer to 8K. It's like 7.2K to 7. It's usually like, it's not like just 7K players where you're just over the limit a little bit. It's usually people that are like somewhere in the middle. Let's see. Okay. I'm gonna get back to the Patreon questions. December 20th. It keeps popping me down. Go to Pro Tracker. Apple cider or eggnog? I'm gonna be totally honest with you. This might piss some people off, but I don't like either. What if you're high MMR but extremely young? That's different. Like if you're 16 and you're 7K, then or even if you're like 15, 16 and you're like 6K and rising, then it's definitely like a very good consideration to possibly try to go pro. Once again, I still think it's a bottom line just because you're young and you're 6K. Like there's plenty of young 6K players. Like Dota's kind of changing. I don't know if people are just noticing it more now. People are using their mics more, but I have noticed that it seems like in games there's a lot more girls that are in like 6 to 7K. There are a lot more younger people in like 6 to 7K. There's a lot of these like demographics that weren't really represented before, and it seems like for whatever reason they are probably not as much as you'd hope, especially with like the young people. It's like, girls are no girls, guys are no guys. Like if we don't get young people playing Dota, it's gonna die. So young people are pretty important. But I think it's to the point where there are, it's not just Sumail. There's quite a few young players that I know and female players. So it's not really as special as it once was to be like, oh, I'm the one young player or I'm the one female player on the server. It's like, well, okay, there's plenty of female players now, so that's not really a huge selling point like it was before. And I'm glad about that. Like I think that's the way it should be. It shouldn't be a selling point, especially with the female thing. It shouldn't be a selling point to be female. It's like they're obviously just as capable. So why would it be a selling point? Okay, let's. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of apple cider eggnog for whatever reason. I would probably say, well, actually, they're both alcoholic, aren't they? Eggnog is more Christmassy. I would go with eggnog. I think any alcohol that's um based on something that's like dairy is interesting. It's not your typical just distilled like vegetable and coming up with like a vodka or some hard liquor. It's interesting. I mean, cider's not bad though. All right, Arboreal Phoenix says, "What are some of the strategies to take down the enemy's offlane tier 1 tower after the 15-minute mark? I found in most of my games, if the tower wasn't taken during the laning stage, it's almost impossible to take if the enemies took your safe lane tier 1 tower. It's pretty hard. With their tier 1 still there, I feel like they only outpost in that area because they have 3 to 4 heroes showing up to defend it. I've tried split pushing. I'm so far away. Enemies show up. I get to push. Any thoughts or suggestions would be appreciated. Basically, this is why people just relentlessly defend these tier 1 towers in competitive matches. Like, people will send 5 heroes to defend a tower, and in almost any case, because like if you look at all of the possible cases, you have like, okay, let's say the enemy team has taken one of your outer tier 1s already in one of the side lanes, and then they're grouping up to push the second one. So what's going to happen here? Like, they take the second one, and then all of a sudden they have 2 outposts for the rest of the game. So all they need to do, and like you said, it's easy, is secure that area, wait for the outpost to give them enough experience, and then just end the game at 40 minutes when they have a 5-level advantage on all of their heroes. Easy game, right? Similarly, like if you take the enemy tier 1 tower, one of the side lane towers, then all you need to do is get the other one and secure the outpost, and you're going to win the game. If you hold both of your towers, then you are gaining access to both of the outposts. Like, basically any sort of situation that you can come up with, you're like the more opportunity you have to take the tower, the more you should risk to go and just run at it to like possibly win the entire game, based off of that like single play. Essentially, like, no matter what situation you're in, there's a huge amount of pressure on you to either defend or take those towers, because either you're going to lose the game horribly or you're going to completely crush the game. And I think that's why a lot of these games do go for a long time, but they feel like stomps. So yeah, basically, like, focus a lot of effort on these side lanes and on defending the towers when you actually have them. Like, once they're gone, you're fucked. Once you've lost the opportunity to take a tier 1 tower, you're fucked. So all I can say is the problem isn't getting it after you've lost your tier 1. It's getting it before you've lost your tier 1 or defending your tier 1, because pros can't even figure out how to get it afterwards. Really, the only way to get it afterwards is just get lucky with a turnaround fight and go secure it. Like, enemy team runs into US5 and they really fuck the pooch, and you go kill them all. So it's hard. It is quite hard. Let's see. Okay. What are some good ways to learn hero matchups, especially for the laning phase? I feel like I struggle knowing who is good against who, aside from the obvious ones, and I've struggled with this over the years. So yeah, I agree with this. I think this is one of the bigger issues in Dota, is that it's really hard to keep up to date on all of these things. There are matchups that used to be favored towards certain heroes. Like, for example, let's take like my last Shadow Fiend video. There are so many people in the comments that are saying, like, you're a moron, Jenkins. SF is terrible against Puck. There are other people that are saying that it's SF favored. I feel like it's SF favored. If you look at on Dota Buff, statistically, it looks even, but Puck or SF is within like the top tier heroes versus Puck. And then also you have this issue with SF where now he has the fear associated with his ultimate ability, right? So this is a really good disable for Puck. I play Puck against SF all the time, and you get caught by the end of the fear, and it's enough for somebody to get another disable on you. Like, there are all of these elements to it where we all just disagree on the matchup because, like, I maybe haven't played it this patch, maybe other people haven't played it this patch, maybe people are talking about the mid game, the late game, the early game. There's too much. There's too much in Dota, man. So basically, my advice when it comes to matchups is to, whenever you don't know whether or not you're supposed to win a matchup, there is something that you can do in every lane to make sure that if it is a bad matchup, you will still get something. And I would say, like, basically be greedy. If you don't know whether or not you're supposed to win a matchup, be greedy. Like, of course, you can go learn a matchup by, running in and trying to be aggressive on a hero. It's like, okay, they killed me. I can't be aggressive. Next time I play against this hero, I'm not going to do that. You can learn these things. Feel free to do that, especially if you have a hunch. If you have a hunch, like, okay, maybe I can go kill this hero, then go, try and see if that works. Totally viable. But with that being said, if you just really want to win the game and you think that it's not important, like that's kind of the bottom line. If it's not important to shut down a hero, then why the fuck are you trying to pressure them? Just be greedy. Like there's these situations. If you're an offlaner, how to be greedy? You cut the wave. You drag it to neutral camps. Why is that greedy? Nobody can contest you. You're never going to die doing that because if they go try to kill you, they lose the whole creep wave. But on top of that, you get the entire wave of creeps, last hits and XP, solo, as well as neutral camps. Like doubling your farm. And you're not getting denied. You're not getting pressured. You're not pressuring, but that's fine. That's how you be greedy in the off lane. In the mid lane, you push the wave, you go jungle, you take runes. You're not pressuring. The enemy will free farm because the lane is under their tower, but who cares? And in the safe lane, you just pull. That's how you be greedy. You just chain pull, and you're getting double the experience because you're getting the neutrals as well. Once again, if you're in a lane where you can kill somebody and you're pulling, then it's like, yeah, you could win the game harder. But sometimes winning a lane harder doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win the game because some heroes are going to come back anyway, or it doesn't matter if they're pressured because they're not the enemy team's win condition. If the enemy team has an alchemist and you're worrying about beating the enemy puck mid as an SF, you're doing it wrong. That's not important, The important thing is that the alchemist is not getting farm. And, maybe you could spin it where it's like you need to shut down the SF or the puck or whatever it is because that will give you access to shutting down the alchemist. But, I mean, sure, it's an argument, but I don't think it's a very good one. I think... So sometimes it just doesn't matter if you win or lose a lane. Or sorry, if you win the lane, but it does matter if you lose the lane, and you should just try to be greedy if you don't know the matchup. That would be my advice in terms of that. I think any other advice to try to tell you how to learn matchups is not going to be hugely helpful because it depends on your learning process. There's a lot of DCs in this game happening. Where should people go to have their 6K MMR talent found? In-house leagues, browse Dota 2 competitive, Reddit. No, let me tell you, honestly, it's like a dream. It would be great if there was some sort of place, some Reddit or some in-house league or some Discord server, but there isn't anything. Like anytime you have, I just tried to get a tea bag out of my tea here and it's sunk. That is very unfortunate. I'm gonna need to get a fork for this. Anyway, so I wish there was something that I could tell you, but there isn't anything. It's basically just climb the ladder until you get to know people who are like 6 to 7K. Play a lot with them. Probably the best place is competing in open qualifiers for like the minor major tournaments, and just testing your luck in that. And that's how you can kind of showcase yourself. Maybe somebody will play on a 7K team and they'll just destroy your team against you, but they'll see that you had a good game and they'll be like, okay, this guy's pretty good. Other than that, it's just pubs. That's it. Okay, let's see. Shiver has a couple more questions, actually. You mentioned watching pro replays to learn, which makes sense. How do you find ones that you want to watch? Dota 2 Pro Tracker. Yes, that's where I find it. Mostly Dota 2 Pro Tracker. Sometimes I watch live games, like I'm watching live games right now. Do you watch live games in the actual game, or just look at Pro Tracker for a specific person or hero? So I look at a number of things. I'll definitely browse Reddit a bit, because Reddit is pretty good at finding the kind of bullshit mechanics, like the SF Abyssal Blade into Ultimate. Like they'll find the things that are kind of very close to being bugs that shouldn't be in the game. And a lot of the time, pro players will eventually base play styles off of like a gimmick. And so that's how I'll figure out like what hero I want to look up on Dota 2 Pro Tracker. Is I'll kind of, I'll I'll play pubs, I will look at Reddit, I will look at streams. I'll just kind of get a general feel for what heroes I want to look up, but then I'll look them up specifically on Dota 2 Pro Tracker. I'll try to find somebody that I personally enjoy watching, that I respect. Like Ramses for me is somebody who I initially watched Ramses out of curiosity to see how he would switch to be an offlaner. I thought he was going to be shit, but I immediately saw him do some really cool stuff. So I started really enjoying watching him. Universe almost always does really good stuff. Ice Ice Ice. I really like watching Ice 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 when it's some hero that has a lot of kill potential and aggressive potential, because he's just one of the most aggressive offlaners, period. So if you want to look to play an offlaner to its like absolute limits, that's like what Ice 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 is going to do. So anyway, that doesn't really matter. Like you click any pro, you're going to learn a lot, I think. Did Ramses improved for playing offlaner? I don't know. He seemed pretty good at it. I mean, of course he's improved, and I'm sure he's learned a lot, and he's played with EG. They've given him feedback. He's been watching his own games and probably studying other people's replays and everything. So I'm sure he's gotten better. But when I first saw Ramses playing the offlane, there are some people, like sometimes they'll play a role, like they'll play carry, and then they'll be good at offlane because they see what offlaners are doing against them. Like they know what's annoying because they're a carry player. They know what's in, and that can be a good way to play the offlane. It's just to think about it that way. Sometimes people suck. There's so many people that are like, oh yeah, I can play every role. I can play 5. I totally understand. Like it's so annoying. My 5s don't do this, and they play it for a week, and it feels good for the first 2 games. And then their win rate plummets, and it starts to feel like shit, and they realize that they're not actually good at that role. I mean, so I guess some people don't have that realization, but eventually it will happen because you lose enough, or you're just good at it. Which either way, I mean, it's fine. There's going to be a role that anybody can play. You just need to figure out what the hell it is. Hey, bless you, Mauricio. Mauricio, is that it? Is that how you pronounce it? Let me know. I'm curious. What specific pros do you suggest watching to learn for 3, 4, 5? Oh, okay, cool. You actually asked that question specifically. Well, I gave you the offlaners. For 4, crit is really good. For 5, like no tail, fly. I'm trying to think. Position 4. Schofield. Schofield plays a really good position 4. You just go to Dota 2 Pro Tracker and go through the list. You'll find somebody that you like. Just like watch one game, and if you kind of find that they're doing stuff that you probably wouldn't do, then maybe watch somebody else. I would say find somebody that seems to have your playstyle. I think one of the I was watching a podcast last night with Kevin O'Leary and Mike Rowe. That's the guy from Dirty Jobs. If you guys have the Discovery Channel, I think that's in like 200 countries or something. He said so. You guys probably know Dirty Jobs. Anyway, he was saying that. Where was I? What was I saying? Oh God, I lost it. Oh right, okay, I remember. So he was saying that they were both saying that you shouldn't try to change your personality to achieve something else. Like somebody was asking, like, okay, I'm not cutthroat and ruthless, and just can I be in business without being that way? Because I've heard Jeff Bezos is like this, et cetera, et cetera. And they were saying, like, no, you can't change your personality. It's as much as you want to, it's not going to happen. You need to have some like massive paradigm shift level of shit happen in your life for your personality to actually change. So, and bringing that back to Dota, I think it's really important to try to find heroes and try to find things that you really enjoy doing and that you're naturally good at, and within that limit, obviously get better at that and try to push that to its limits. But don't try to play like somebody else. Don't try to be somebody else, because it's not going to work. It's not realistic. You're basically having to relearn a bunch of shit that you were perfectly capable of learning in childhood, when that's like literally what children do, is they learn insanely quickly. Anyway. Oh, that's good tea. That's good orange Baco. It's fucking decaffeinated. Those bastards didn't have any other regular tea, motherfuckers. Anyway, Poopy Pants Boy says, "Hey Boo, I'm Guardian 2, and last season I was Guardian 6. I lost all of my calibration games to the latest season and calibrated a Herald 4. That's rough." One thing I do want to say here before getting to the next part is that you might, your MMR might actually be higher, and you might be Guardian 2. I recall that near the end of the last season, they wanted to give people this, for some reason, like sense of progression by just boosting the medals, where you get lower MMR and get a higher medal. So that they're not doing that this season. It's just straight up. It's just straight up going to stay the same. Whatever the MMR value is right now for Guardian, it's going to be that. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about it too much. But anyway, the climb to Guardian 2 was brutal since most of those games were solo queue. I've been playing for almost 8 months, and my first couple of hundred games were pretty terrible, as I never played any MOBA before Dota. I'm now quite frequently playing with my friends. They've been playing since Dota 1, and they're in the mid-Archon bracket to high Legend bracket. I play so much better in those games than in my solo queue games. I find it much easier to play with a team that understands not only the fundamentals, but the decision-making that goes on during games. I play mid, and while I usually play well when I'm partied or solo, it's much harder to rely on a safe lane Spectre who has 66 last hits in a 40-minute game to carry us. Should I make a new account or continue to suffer through and grind my way to a higher rank? I can say that I've never, ever, in the goddamn 7 or 8 years, almost 8 now years that I've played this game, and maybe the last 2 or 3 years being like a professional player slash coach slash content creator. So I've had a lot of people come to me with this question of, should I create an account, a new account? And it has never, ever worked. Not a single time has it worked. Everybody always calibrates to the exact same MMR, and I don't know if that's because the problems that are causing you to be at that rank are more fundamental than just being in solo queue, or if it's attitude issues, or you just do the solo queue bullshit anyway on the new account eventually because you play for long enough that you get bored and you're like, I want to go solo queue. So I would say no. I've never seen anybody have any success with starting a new account. Instead, I think you should change your perspective. You should change your perspective to be okay with being your rating, because it's just a number. It doesn't matter. If you're an immortal player, if you're 7K and you're playing on this account, the Poopy Pants account, you're still 7K. After a certain amount of time, unless you lose your 7K skill, you will get that account to 7K. So why worry about it? Just own noobs until you're 7K. Just keep playing. It's like it's a game, right? We're just all trying to enjoy the game. That's what it's all about in the first place. Like, eventually you're gonna get the rank that you deserve. So don't worry about what the actual number is. Worry about whether or not you deserve that number, or you deserve a higher number. That's all your focus should be on. Anything else that you can focus on is a farce. It's a waste of time. It doesn't do anything other than like stress you the fuck out. That's it. And make you play worse. So yeah, don't make a new account. Just keep playing. If you find that the games are easier and they're better, and you're playing better, you're feeling better, which is going to result in you having easier games in the future because your psychology is going to be good, then keep doing it. Just keep up what's working. I deserve to play with noobs because I'm actually terrible and I don't play anymore. That's fine. Can I ask why you quit Dota? I'm curious why people are quitting. I mean, I understand it. I have theories. That's the thing, is I have theories on why a lot of people are quitting. A lot of people say 7.23, but I feel like it's one of those situations where, and no offense to anybody who has quit, because this might not be you, but I have a feeling that for a lot of people who quit Dota, they say it's 7.23. It's not 7.23. I feel like a lot of people are just bored of the concept of Dota, and probably MOBAs in general. If you look on Twitch, my buddy's here for the Christmas break, and we were looking through Twitch just to find something to watch. And if you look through Twitch, you can see all of these just legendary games that are like define your childhood, or there was a specific period where they were the biggest game in the world. They have like 100 viewers, and they have like nothing, and it's sad, but such is life. Sometimes a game just hits a point where maybe it'll have a resurgence in the future, but also maybe it's just a concept that they want to do something else. I think that's perfectly okay. Anyway, let me read what you said. Will Mosley, I'm asking you why you quit out of curiosity if you're still around. By the way, we're done with the Patreon questions, so I'm gonna move on and chat with chat. What if you, Jenkins, play for 3-month 1K game? Wouldn't you just lost your reflex or something because you don't need it? 1K games? No, I don't think so. Not to a huge degree. I think it's one of those things where it would happen, but it would matter a lot less than you think. Because the same concepts that are going to win you games you'll have to go through a period when you're ranking up where you get into like a higher bracket and you're going to need to fix shit and do things better. That will definitely happen. But it's like, this is just a human problem. It's not really a gaming thing. It's like a human question of how did like the neural pathways work. They're still there. You know, nothing's gonna go over them. You can pick up a bike and ride a bike after years of not riding a bike. This is just the way it is. And you know, Tony Hawk can hop on a skateboard, and yeah, he's way shittier, but he's still much better than the average person. He's still significantly better. And you know, like I said, obviously there are going to be there will be diminishing returns. Like you will be worse, but not to a large degree. Like I'm not going to play in 1K games and all of a sudden become a 3K player. That is putting way too much emphasis on those like extremely high level mechanics. That's not what wins Dota. If this was like a purely mechanical skill based game, that might be true. Like Tony Hawk couldn't go and compete in some skateboarding competition probably, but we're talking compared to like 3 1K players. That's like the kind of average. You love watching 7.23. I have a question for chat. My buddy who's here for the winter made this suggestion. I thought this was a really good idea. He said that I should make a video on like what the fuck is happening in Dota, basically, for players who are returning. Like how the game has changed since the older patches. Like what's really new in the game, because I do think that is definitely a problem. People come back and they're like, what the fuck are these outposts? Why are people suiciding to control these, like, it's like capture the flag or something? What's my opinion on Zeus support? It's decent. Can you tell us the best numbers for CS for offlane players? I don't ever pay attention to that stuff. I don't know. Maybe that's because in 7K it doesn't really matter. Maybe I know Speed really likes to talk about that. I personally feel like, once again, just being really anecdotal here, but I personally feel like that's a bit of a mistake to get people to focus on that in terms of learning. I could be very well wrong about that. I'm perfectly willing to accept that. But my personal opinion is that you just need to focus on doing well, like doing what is needed in the game. Because there are some lanes where your CS should be bad. There are some lanes where you are, you know, completely solo versus 3 heroes, or you're the lane that's countered, or you're a hero that doesn't CS, or let's say you're a Puck, like we're watching this Puck replay here. You want Puck to have high CS? This hero should be running around and ganking. If there are heroes on the enemy team that need to be dealt with, and a ganker needs to be ganking them, well, this is probably the reason you picked Puck, is to run around and gank. So you'd rather see more kills than CS. I wish there was a way to measure impact in a game. That's the thing, because sometimes all you need to do is farm. Sometimes all you need to do is deny it. Like if you're an alchemist, if you're against an alchemist, for example, you sweaty Egyptian scrotum. Oh my god. See, here's the thing: is Donnie's not here, and I'm just extremely immature, so I just find this very funny. Pakistani body odor. Oh god, you picked the wrong stream. I'm too immature for this. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, CS doesn't matter. CS really doesn't matter that much. You want to focus on just like doing the job that needs to be done in the game, and if that's CSing, then yeah, you shouldn't have low CS. Just typing something unrelated here to cover up the spam. Speed always focus on CS, even in the offlane position. Hey man, nothing against Speed. I think Speed's a fantastic player, but it's not something that I like to focus on for that role in particular. And I've most of what I've learned from Dota, I've learned from my buddy Newsham, because he's just one of the best players like I've ever met, and I also learned the game with him. So we've talked a lot about this, and I know he's very valiantly against counting CS because he thinks that it's a distraction. It distracts people from the real issues. So people will stagnate at like 3K MMR and they'll just be like, oh, it's because my CSing sucks. When really the problem is something that's much more fundamental. And sometimes it's so fundamental that it's hard to admit. Sometimes the problem is you're not good at accepting criticism. Sometimes the problem is that you're too stubborn in your ideas. Sometimes the problem is that you're not thinking about the game. You're playing on autopilot. And I definitely agree with Newsham. I think the CSing thing and the focus on that is something that takes away from real problems that are going to cause a lot more issues. Not only in Dota, honestly. Not to be one of those super philosophical, oh, Dota is life, but I think it is something that can definitely be related to issues that are outside of Dota. Do you think that learning from videos and guides actually helps or damages your ability to get better? Because I feel like it restrains my ability to think outside the box. It's a good question. That's a really good question. I can say I personally don't watch guides at all on Dota. If I do watch them, it's for entertainment. I'm watching somebody like Bowie just because like I want to watch Dota, or it's honestly almost always entertainment. So, but I do watch streams. I do watch streams to see what people are doing and get an idea. But I also as another note on that, most people that I know that have gone and become tier 1 players have learned from somebody. There's always like somebody that like mentors them. And I think that content and streamers and all of these things can emulate that to some degree. Look how little damage this puck is doing with this stupid build. I fucking hate this build. Anyway, there's some mentoring that almost always happens. And this is such a useless, shitty puck build, man. Why do people do this? And I think that videos can emulate that. So yeah, I do think they're good. I do genuinely think they're good. I'm not just saying that because I have a Dota channel. Honestly, I'm at the point with Dota where I'm like, I'm not checked out of Dota, but I have internalized and accepted that the game might be dead. Well, I mean, obviously it's not dead, but it might die in the next few years. Valve might tremendously fuck up. Artifact happened. Basically, it's to the point where it's like if Dota goes, I'm willing to accept it. I've gone over the grieving period, I should say, and griefing period of admitting that something is dead, possibly. What was the question even again? I don't remember why I was even talking about that. What puck build would you recommend? Oh, I remember. We were talking about watching other content creators. I don't know how I got to Dota being dead. This is why Donnie needs to be here. I should go on these fucking massive tangents. You wasted $20 on Artifact. Yeah, that's what I mean about Dota potentially dying. Is that I think that it's fully within the realm of possibility for maybe people are just bored. Maybe Valve fucks up. Who knows? If it happens, it happens. We'll all go find another game that we'll enjoy, I'm sure. And then we might come back to Dota eventually. That's just like the life cycle of games or anything. Do you think that queuing just one role as much as possible to improve faster in that given role? Anecdotally, it's helped me gain hecka MMR. Yes, I do think that is the best way. Once again, also anecdotally, I have seen a lot of people gain a lot of MMR doing that. So it does work. It does work. And I think there's a lot of good reasons for that. I think that it lets you focus in a game that's otherwise very convoluted. It lets you really hone in instead of just kind of learning the base level for everything. You can do the really, really good nuanced shit, and that's what wins you games. And you're never going to get to that level of nuance in Dota 2 without focusing, at least on a role or heroes or whatever. Could you go into depth why Pango is so low on your tier list videos and when to not pick Pango? His laning really sucks. That's one problem. He's one of these heroes that is almost entirely skill based. He's like the new kind of Pudge, if Pudge was still like a skill based hero, but really now Pudge is just this big fatso who runs into fights and is tanky. But Pango is like super skill based, so as you can see with this guy, he's doing insane shit. So I think Pango's good. I do think Pango's good. I probably underrate it. There's a lot of heroes. I know I'm not supposed to say this as a content creator. It's probably better to. I remember Grant said that one of the biggest changes in the way that he casted was that he would just say shit. He wouldn't care if he was right or wrong. He would just say shit, and that's what Kyle does because it creates more of it's more entertaining. But for me, it's like, I mean, I'd rather just say the truth. I don't think that my tier lists are something you should follow without taking it with a grain of salt. Like, Pango's low on that list basically because I don't play a lot of Pango, so I don't really 100% know the strengths of the hero, to be completely frank. Never stop making content even if Dota dies. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. Also, hi David. Hi Big D. I was gonna say hello to you after I finished a thought, but then I forgot about it. Has removal of the bottom shrines changed how you prioritize objectives on both sides? Well, I'm a dumbass, so I haven't changed the way that I've played, but I can tell you I have felt it now. It does really feel like if you are in the Radiant jungle as Dire, you could just never leave, and there's no threat that will ever have to make you leave that area, and it's way easier to like defend your own jungle. But with that being said, like Dire is fully capable of taking that jungle, and Radiant is fully capable of taking that jungle. And taking either jungle has about the same value, especially because the outposts are so important that you want to take the side lanes anyway. So it's not like it's balanced towards one side of the map. I'm sure it is, but not to a huge degree. At least it doesn't feel like it is. It just feels like whoever has control of that area. I guess that's the answer to the question. It makes it easier to secure control of that area because there's no way for either team to get there. Well, you can go to like where they're like if you're Radiant, you can go to the Dire triangle and secure that area because there's no shrine there. And for Dire, it's like the Radiant jungle, you know. So that's just like a consideration you have to make when moving around the map. Is like, is there a shrine there? Predictions for TI winner if it happened right now. Fucking OG, dude. VG is not paying emphasis on capturing both 10 minutes outposts. Is denying that 10 XP at 10 minutes not important. I have been thinking maybe with how they've changed it to just like they've nerfed it so many times that maybe the outposts aren't as valuable as people think. It's like it seems like they're more balancing the outposts to be just as important as the towers. That's at least how I felt at the start of the patch, like the outposts were significantly more important than defending or taking the mid tower. But now I think if you're trading like both outposts for the enemy mid tower, that might be fine. But they still have this about the same value as the towers, if you know what I mean, depending on the game. And I think that's a way more balanced state for Dota to be in. Hey Jenkins, would you watch a game of mine now? Like right now? Well, not right now. No. I guess that's my answer. I have to go after this. I'm sorry. EG would win easy, maybe. Preferred build on Lone Druid. That's a hard one. Probably, I really like the Mask of Madness and the Basher. I think that bear with the Basher is like impossible to deal with. I think it's really annoying. I think going like AC Mjolnir, that sort of thing. SFOD mid counters. Both of those heroes are pretty generic. Like I think with SF, like any hero that can kill him is pretty good. Heroes with like really high base damage and lane pressure, like Tiny is a really good hero against SF. TA obviously. Heroes that can like just tank raises. Pudge is actually a decent counter because Pudge will like never die to an SF. People have said that one goes 50-50, but you can kill SF. He's like a solo kill SF kind of hero. Someone like Zeus is okay because if you get somebody to gank for you, then you can kill the SF. but Zeus alone can't kill an SF, which is the only problem. Like, heroes that can just solo kill SF are really nice. Some sort of like Storm. Storm's really nice. Rubik just poofed. Quap counters both. Yeah, Quap is good against both. Because she can just pressure both of them out of the lane, and they both have to kind of sit in the lane for quite some time before they can go jungle. Is Drow still top tier? Yes. Best PL counter for position 1. I was trying to think about that the other day. I don't think there is a great PL counter. It's like tiny. That's about it. Alright. I think, and let's see how long I've been going for. I think I'm going to call it there. It's been quite some time. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all of you. And yeah, I'll record a video tonight. We'll have a video coming out, but Donnie's on sabbatical, so it's going to be a little slow for the Christmas break. I hope y'all don't mind, but we're excited to come back and make content for when Christmas is over, especially on this new patch. I haven't been playing as much as I would want to. Anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate seeing all of you, and yeah, happy holidays.